Welcome, welcome everyone. Please keep yourselves muted as well as off camera. We thank you so much, all of you, for joining us today. We have a very special presentation for you. Today, our webinar is going to be on social selling for leaders, guiding your team to close more deals online with the illustrious Jordan Guyton. She is the founder of Vera Jean Media, a strategic content and training consultancy that helps corporations educate and activate small business audiences through Salesforce programming. With a background in media and a portfolio that includes partners like Meta, PayPal, HubSpot, and Charter Communications, Jordan leads initiatives that combine content strategy with real-world conversion, from digital campaigns to alumni trainings and accelerator support. She equips entrepreneurs with the tools to sell confidently while helping corporate partners drive engagement, impact, and long-term pipeline growth. And without further ado, you have the floor.
Awesome. Good afternoon, everyone. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop any type of emojis of if you're excited or if you're nervous or if you're overwhelmed. I just want to get the energy going before we even dive in. So Rajith is here, John is here, Kunal is here, Tanzila is here. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for joining us. Before we get started and before I share my screen and do all the things, do me a favor and just take a second to introduce yourself and your business in the chat. I would love to see what type of businesses are in the building today. It helps me teach a little bit better too, so I can speak to specific examples based on your industry, team size, that kind of thing. And we'll have some more specific questions as we get into the presentation. But I always say, never miss the opportunity to plug your business. So you never know who's in this room right now. Your peers are here. Your next client could be here. So please just take a second to drop your business name, what type of business, maybe the industry, before we go ahead and get started. Lizette, thank you so much for that introduction. And I'm just really excited to be here. I'm so grateful to be an MBE and be part of this organization. And I'm so excited to just share with you. So Mike is here, Info People, Corporations, IT Staffing, Jessica Johnson, my beau sister, representing Johnson Security Bureau Security Services. Rajith is doing client services at Soho, a fintech consulting and staffing firm in New York City. Love it. Armand, Easy Payroll, love it. We love the money. Love your company there. That's very helpful. Lenore Horton, Horton Legal Strategies, love it. Growth ready legal that scales with you. Kunal's with Optima Global Solutions, so another IT staffing company. Love that. Finding candidates, filling niche roles, specifically in government and higher education. The chat is going wild. I love it. So as you're coming in, please introduce yourself, drop your business, what your business does. If you're representing a company, please share that as well. Because again, you just never know who's in the room. Connections, networking online is also very huge. So please don't ever miss the opportunity to plug yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. As soon as you see my slides, go ahead and drop a yes in the chat, because sometimes technology be technologying, and I want to make sure that we are all squared away. Beautiful. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. I won't spend too much time on plugging myself because Lizette did an amazing introduction. If I could take her everywhere in every room I go into, she would be with me, because thank you. Like she said, I'm Jordan Guyton, founder and CEO of Vera Jean Media. We are really on a mission to empower small business owners with strategic frameworks to build scalable and sustainable revenue streams, specifically in the digital media space, and really helping you claim social capital. On the other side of our business, we work with corporate partners to help them build out engaging and scalable and revenue driving small business programs. So I'm always looking forward to be connected with leaders who work in that small business space, small business program space, small business accelerator or development space. So that's what we do. Some of our amazing clients globally include PayPal, Meta, HubSpot, Verizon. Verizon is a new one. Amen. So really, really doing some great work out here, but really my goal is to help businesses make more money. If you are stepping into this end of year with the energy of generating more revenue for your business or the business that you represent, throw some dollar signs in the chat so we can just get that money energy flowing, because what I really am going to be talking about is all revenue generating strategies, whether you are a team member and supporting a business or if you are running social for your business. So, ooh, Lenore, I love that emoji. That's a good, that's a good one. So I want to know, like I said, I want to get into specifics here so we can get a little bit clear on how to structure this presentation for you and just play full out. That's what I ask with all of these presentations that we lead as a company is if you're going to show up and give up your most expensive currency, which is your time, play full out. That's the only way you're going to be able to ingest the information and then go and implement it or delegate for your team to implement. So please, please, please play full out. If you are used to lurking and not being in the comments, this is not the webinar for you. We really want you to be engaged with this. So the first question that I have is, how is your marketing/social team currently structured? Do you have a full-time team, B, outsourcing it, C, maybe it's a hybrid, right? So you're doing some of it, maybe your team is doing some of it, or you're doing, or you're outsourcing some of it, or D, I am the marketing team, right? There's no wrong answer, but I would love for you to drop your answer in the chat. So we've got some A's here, so full-time team. We have a few, I am the marketing team. I wear all the hats. I hear that. Outsourced, awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, yep, just want to see where we are. Outsourced part-time. Cynthia says, Jeffrey says, some outsource, some me. Beautiful. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about social selling, right? Just to level set everyone. So social selling is the process of using social media platforms to engage with potential clients, build relationships, and establish your brand's authority with the goal of driving sales and growing business opportunities. It's about leveraging social interactions to nurture leads and convert them into long-time customers. Drop a 1 in the chat if you have generated leads or new clients from social. Drop a 2 if it's a not yet. I want to know where we are with social selling. I know we all know about posting on social media. I know we know showing up on social media. I know we know post 3 times a day and I know we've heard all of that. But my question is, are you generating leads or making money from social? So 1, yes, 2, not yet. I don't want to say no because it's not yet. After this, it's going to be a yes. Okay, beautiful. So we have a lot of 2s here. I'm going to ask one more question before I go to the next slide. Currently, especially those of you for 2s, what is your goal for social media? Is it to build awareness? Is it to generate leads and sales? Is it to build community? Is it to, because everyone says you have to have social media, it's because you have social media. Why are you using social media? And if you're not using it yet, you can also say, I'm not using it yet. LWC says to generate leads. Jordan's build community, legitimize my business. John, brand recognition, generate leads. Awesome. Raul, community and network. Kunal, we want to use it to help build connections and foster client relationships. Beautiful. Mark, awareness and leads. Cynthia, build awareness, brand recognition. Okay, awesome. And those of you that have not put sales or leads, so I see like awareness, recognition, put a yes if sales is something that you desire from social, or is just social that building community awareness. Do we want sales from it as well? Okay, all right, beautiful. Okay, so we're all on the same page here. You're in the right place. So let's talk about sales, because I really love talking about sales. I love talking about money. I love helping people make more money. I love you being able to work with the dream businesses and people and brands and corporations and partners that you want to. And social is one of the best, most, I won't say easy because it's a beast, but you're in a world where you have access through social versus going door to door or newspaper or spending lots of money buying media. So you're in a really great space. So businesses that outsell their peers using social selling are 51% more likely to hit revenue targets. And this source comes from LinkedIn State of Sales report back in 2021. And I thought this was a really great stat to put in here to really put some fire under us to realize that if we are not using social as a selling, as a top of funnel, as an entry point, as a way to generate more leads and close clients, we are losing out on a lot of revenue. 51%, right? So really, really let that sink in. And again, for those of us that are outsourcing or we have a team, I really want you to take notes on what you can bring back to your team so that sales and those KPIs that I'm going to be talking about start to be the shift of their focus, because it is totally doable. Now, how many of you have an actual playbook, whether you are running marketing full-time, you're outsourcing it, or you have a full team, or it's a hybrid? How many of you actually have a playbook for your social sales? One yes, two no, or put yes or no. You can just put yes or no. Do you have a playbook for your social sales? Okay. No's, yes. Okay. We are currently developing one. Love it. Jeffrey says yes. Mark says yes. Tanzila says no. Mohit says no. Jordan says in the process. Beautiful. So high level, and at the end, I'll share a QR code where you can actually have all the notes from today where all this is written down. So don't worry about trying to like write it down really fast or take screenshots or anything like that. And we'll also answer questions at the end. But these are the key things that we include when we build out playbooks for companies. We do something called the VIP intensive, and the goal of that intensive is to help you build out that playbook so that your team can hit the ground running with it. And so we're going to go through a lot of these points right now. So in your playbook, we really want a revenue roadmap. And this revenue roadmap should speak clear to your voice, your vision, your visuals, and your value. Is a tongue twister, but we should have all four. We'll talk about that in a second. It should also have an ICA tracker. How many of you are tracking your leads from social? You can put me or not yet. How many of you are actually the connections that you make on LinkedIn, the friends that request you on Facebook, the people that connect with you on Instagram, the people that follow your Facebook group, however you're utilizing whatever platform you're using? Are you tracking these people yet? Right? Not yet. Beautiful. Social sales engine. So this should have your income producing activities, your cash flow zone. So what modalities on social are actually generating you revenue? Because let me know in the chat if you feel as though social media can be a little overwhelming. There's a multitude of things you could be doing. You could be going live, you could be creating short form content, you're writing captions, you're coming up with hashtags. Does anyone feel overwhelmed by all the things you could be using social media for? And so because of that, I think it's really, really important to have cash flow zones and things that you should focus on or your team should focus on. Deepak asked, what is an ICA? Ideal client avatar. Thank you for asking. So your ideal client avatar is what you should be tracking. And my apologies for not clarifying that up top. 3, in your social sales engine, we should also know your leads designated destination. And we'll talk about that as well. There should be team KPIs, leadership KPIs, and high performance content glossary. And I'm not sure if I really talk about this point that much in this presentation, but remind me at the end during questions and I'd be happy to touch on it briefly. All right, so coming through and reading this full playbook, drop in the chat, what about it, high level, because we haven't gone into it, but what excites you the most? IPA is an income producing activity. What excites you the most? Just me talking about it from a high level. Is it a revenue roadmap? Is it knowing your income producing activities? Is it getting clear on what those KPIs are? Is it knowing what high performance content is actually moving the needle for your business? Let me know in the chat, just upon first glance, what excites you most that we're going to dive into today. Cash flow zones, yeah. Jeffrey's like, the money. Cynthia, getting organized about what I should be doing. It just seems like a lot of things that are confusing. Beautiful. Yeah, this will definitely help with that organization. All right, KPI is beautiful. We love numbers. What doesn't get measured does not get tracked, and then you start to feel some type of way. So yes, tracking your KPIs are huge. Social sales engine, beautiful. All right, so let's get into your revenue roadmap. So the way that we teach social to make it a bit less overwhelming, right, is these 4 V's: your voice, your vision, visuals, and value. And we're going to go through these one by one, right? But I really feel like in order to get to the money, right, in order to generate more leads, in order for your posts not just to be something that people give likes to, because likes don't pay the bills, right? How do we get them into leads? And so going through this voice, vision, visuals, and value approach may bring some light bulb moments for you and thinking about some ways to refine the way your business presents on social. Lenore says, we tried a similar approach previously, and I'm excited to hear your take on it and whether that will make a difference for us. It was a lot of work, generated buzz, but no sales. That's the kicker, man. When we're spending all this time on agency, on talent, on time, on creating content, money on subscriptions like Canva or CapCut or whatever you're using to create your content, when there's nothing on the back end to fund that, and there's no revenue generating from that, whether you're in the B2B, B2C, B2B2C space, it can be discouraging. So thank you for being transparent, Lenore, and sharing that. I really, really appreciate it, because that's the case for a lot of us. All right, so let's get into the revenue roadmap. So the first V is your voice, right? Your style is kind of how I like to think about it. The italics under each one is kind of the energy or the vibe that I want you to take with each of these words. So voice is your style. So your voice reflects how your brand communicates on social media. It's the tone, language, and personality that should be consistent across all content. Whether it's formal, casual, witty, or inspirational, your voice should resonate with your target audience and reflect the values of your business. So those of you that are outsourcing or that have a team, do you feel as though the voice of your business is reflected in the content that is posted? Yes or no? Because oftentimes when we come across business owners and we start to do these intensives where we work together to help restructure the way they're showing up, the founder, the owner didn't take enough time to educate those that they outsource to what that voice or style should be. And it was more of a handoff putting out fires. And so if we're really not taking the time to communicate what that voice is, formal, casual, witty, inspirational, funny, straight to the point, data-driven, whatever that is, it's not going to resonate with your ideal buyers because it's not what you intended. It's somebody else's energy, vibe, whatever the case is. Mark says yes. Jeffrey says yes. I review it before it's posted. Love that. Those of you that haven't answered in the chat, how do you define your voice or your style for your company or the company that you're representing? Can you drop that in the chat? Can you share with me what your voice is or the company's voice is? For us, our voice is very inspirational, educational. It's very authoritative. It's very easy to implement and understand. We really want it to feel step by step, not elementary, but elevated in that sense, if that tracks with somebody. Kunal says, I describe it as professional yet warm, beautiful. Anybody else? How would you describe your voice? Educational and inspirational, beautiful. Empathy driven, that's beautiful. Cynthia, grandma, let's go. That's the style. Raul, sophisticated and niche, beautiful. And so I really want you to think about, even if you're creating it or if somebody else is creating it, is the voice coming through? Or share your content with somebody and say, hey, does this seem sophisticated and niche to you? Or what are you pulling from this piece of content? When we go to the second V, we're talking about vision, and that's your intention. So we talked a little bit about this a few minutes ago when I asked, what is your intention with social? Why are we on all these platforms? Why are we doing all the posting or hiring a team or spending money on things that we think we have to do for social, right? And so your vision defines why you're on social media and what you aim to achieve. Whether it's thought leadership, community building, generating leads, your vision will guide your content and how you engage with your audience. And I also want to speak to the fact that your intention can also be seasonal, right? I think for us in our business and a lot of the clients we work with, obviously leads and sales is like trumps everything, right? I want more sales, I want more leads, I want more partners, I want more, whatever the case is, more, right? But you may be in a season where brand awareness is important because maybe you're launching something new. You may be in a season where building community is your intention at this time because maybe there's a new product or maybe you're new to the game or whatever the case is. You may be in the season of just nurturing your current ecosystem, media ecosystem. You may be in that season, right? And so making sure that your team is very clear on what season you're in. Again, knowing that leads and sales are the minimum, it's very important to communicate that. Otherwise, we're all going in all different directions. Is your intention volume right now and visibility, right? So if you're in that season, it's going to be very, very different than community building and nurturing. Those are two different types of content. And so really knowing what season your business is in, that's huge. And like I said, baseline, we know that sales and leads is trumps everything. But if you really think about it, and we talked about it a second ago, but I would love to see it in the chat one more time. What is your intention in this season? We have one more month left in Q3, and then we go into Q4. And when you think about the way that your business is showing up on social, what is the intention of this season? For us, I think it's visibility and sales. Cynthia says, I need to get more sales. I need to get some sales, period. That's the season that you're in. So you're very focused on that authoritative, leads driven content. Love that. Anybody else? And happy to just give some things to focus on when you're there. Sales. Okay. So more direct content, more straightforward call to actions, less fluff. Jeffries, get leads and brand awareness to get ready for the holidays. Love that. So sharing a lot of the stories behind the business, the brand, the people behind the business and the brand, the customers that make up the business and the brand. That's huge for brand awareness. Kunal says, I want to get visibility and broaden our client database while strengthening our relationship with current and past clients. Love that. So client spotlights, you can do lives with clients or past clients, current clients. You can strengthen the relationship by spotlighting what your clients are doing well or what makes a great client. Visibility is increasing the frequency of how often you're posting. Tanzila says marketing. Awesome. Can you give me a little bit more specifics there in the chat, Tanzila? What do you mean by marketing? That's your intention. Is that just getting your name out there? Is it marketing with other businesses? Is it leveraging other people's audiences? What do you mean by that, Tanzila? Raul is warm up leads before attempting to reach out. Love that. So a lot of edutainment for you, Raul, like really getting to the why this is important to them. Why should they care about this? Agitate those pain points a little bit before that reach out, if that's the route that you're going. I'm always like, reach out. If you know they're qualified and you are aspirin, not a vitamin to your target audience, reach out. Tanzila says, we're a new company, so we really want to establish in the market this quarter. Beautiful. So visibility, brand awareness, that type of energy. Awesome. All right. So drop a 1 in the chat if this is helpful so far. We're going to go into the next V, which is visuals. But I would love to see how you're feeling. Okay, awesome. So visuals is your impression. So your visuals are the first thing people see and should capture the essence of your brand. So this includes your logos, photos, graphics, videos, and design elements. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory, but consistent high quality visuals make your brand recognizable and professional across platforms. I didn't put this here with your visuals and your impressions, but how many of you, yes or no, are also including engagement in your social strategy? meaning you or your team has designated time to respond back to comments, engage in new profiles, engage with potential leads, engage with people who have sent you DMs. Do you have designated time for that, or does your team have designated time for that? Yes or no? Because I think that is so important. Okay, great. Beautiful. And so I say that because with your impressions, one thing we do in our revenue roadmap, and I don't know if I talk about this, so that's why I'm mentioning it right now, emojis and the way that you respond back to people is part of your impression, right? So if you speak to people a certain way and your team is now speaking to them a different way, or certain emojis that you do use as a founder or as a business that your essence or style, that should all be there. Like, we have an emojis chart that we put together for each business that is aligned with how the business wants to show up. Let me know if that makes sense. And if not, I can say it better. But one of my team members is here, Tiffany. Hi, Tiffany. Say hi to Tiffany. But I remember early on, when we first started doing trainings with teams, it was as little as, I love using a purple emoji, but she always uses a thumbs up, and I hate that. And it's like, that is part of your impression. It's huge. It makes a huge difference. The way that you say things, if you're like, hey girl, and that's not how you talk, right? And it's more, hey everyone, or hi friend, your team needs to know that. And so that is part of your visual, that is part of your impression, because it's not just the person who you're responding to their comment, it's all the people who go through and read comments as well. How many of you look at a post and then look at the comments that people say? I love looking at comments, especially when I'm like doom scrolling on TikTok. I'm like, what is everyone saying? I want to see what everyone's saying. So it's not just the person you're responding to, it's those that are viewing the post as well. So that it is really about the comments, I'm telling you. So you want to make sure that your impression is showing up the way that your business and brand is supposed to show up. Beautiful. Okay, I'm glad that makes sense, because I was like, I don't know if I put a slide in there about that. And I know it's so silly, emojis, but it does make a difference. Okay, the last V is value. So your proposition. So your value proposition is a clear statement of the unique benefits your business offers. So this is often the reason potential customers choose you over your competitors, is because you've made it very clear about what happens when they book a call, or they click the link in your bio, or they send you an email, or they want to chat with you. It is very clear in your social posts. And I think oftentimes teams or us will post and we'll say, if you want to know more, click the link in my bio. But what happens when I click the link in the bio? What is the proposition? What do I get? What's the end game? A lot of that is now left for the viewer or the reader or the potential buyer to come up with, and because you didn't cover it in your caption or in your video or in your post, right? So it's click the link in your bio and we'll have a one-on-one call where we can discuss where the leaks are in your business and see if you're a fit for our one-on-one staffing. I just made that up. But do you see how I'm adding more color and clearly stating that value proposition there? Let me know in the chat if that makes sense. Your social media should communicate this value in every post and interaction, creating a consistent message that resonates with your target audience. So again, what is in it for them? It has to be really clear. And I'm going to share some visuals, because there's so many places besides your comments where your proposition can be when it comes to social. So I'll share some visuals in a second. And for the sake of not being overwhelmed by all the platforms that exist in social media world, I'm just going to be talking about LinkedIn and Instagram today. But go ahead and let me know in the chat what platforms you're focused on, or your company is focused on, or the company that you're representing is focused on. Kunal says that makes sense. So basically including a short call to action. Yeah. And a CTA or a call to action doesn't need to be on every single post, but when you are selling and when you are asking for someone to take that next step, it has to be very clear as to what's in it for them. What happens, right? What do I get? Because to be honest, buyers are fatigued. I don't know if you're fatigued by all the selling online, but it has to make them want to take action. Why are you different? All right, so let me read through these really quick before I go to the next slide. And Kunal, let me know if that answered your question. LinkedIn, Facebook, love it. LinkedIn, we mostly use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is great for B2B buyers, for sure, and B2C. LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, I do LinkedIn. Tanzila said it also affects the customer loyalty if we are, I agree, consistent with our values, LinkedIn and Facebook. Beautiful. Okay, glad that was helpful. All right, so let's get into some visuals here of where your proposition could be. And so someone, I think it was Kunal, right? You just mentioned call to action. Let me just make sure. Yes. So talking about call to action here, CTA. This is how people take the next step with you. So make it clear what you want them to do, whether it's booking a call, sending a message, or visiting your website. Those of you, we'll say for everyone actually, do you have a list of go-to call to actions? Do you rely on your team to do that? Do you review all of the call to actions before they go out? Let me know that process, because that's really where we're converting, is that call to action, that clear next step. And sometimes your call to action could be follow us. It could be subscribe. It could be sign up for the newsletter. It might not be paid right now. It could be so top of funnel that you're just shaking someone's hand before bringing them to the office, right? So really making sure there's the thumbs up, ignore that. But really make sure, that we're tightening up those call to action. So I want to show you a couple spaces. This is LinkedIn, and I'll show you Instagram as well. But this is my LinkedIn profile. So I have a clear photo. I have my expertise here. I love that LinkedIn allows you to really play in the about section. And this is not a business page I'm speaking for. I'm actually speaking for a more personal page as a founder, as a CEO, as an owner. So those of you that are that or running pages for your founders or CEOs, please make sure this is tight, because if they go to the company's page and the company's page is great or even not great, they're still going to go back to the people that work there. So ensure that the photo is tight. Ensure that you take up time to write your about section. On LinkedIn, stats are huge. People love reading statistics. Make sure I love AI, I love ChatGPT, but make sure you Google and really get credible source stats that relate to your industry or your business. So I have 93% of businesses struggle with common social media challenges. That's huge. That's a gut punch, especially for my B2B buyers. And then this also is a great place in your about section to have your call to action. So I didn't screenshot my actual CTA on LinkedIn. I will pull it up though, so I can read it to you. Let me know in the chat if this is helpful as I'm pulling this up, and I will tell you my about section. And feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn after this too. All right, so my CTA at the end says, small business owners need social and they need the permission to show up unapologetically. When businesses work with us, they become equipped and armed to build social capital in the marketplace and become confident in using social media to sell. Want to learn more? Let's connect. And then I have my email there. And so there is a great way that I painted the picture before asking somebody to reach out to me. Drop a yes in the chat if that makes sense. So I encourage you, if your professional LinkedIn profile is not updated with some way to contact you and what happens when they contact you, whether you are the owner of the company or if you are running the graphic design, whether you are running the staffing side of things, people are going to find you, especially on LinkedIn. People will look at your email signature and say, okay, I'm going to go look this person up on LinkedIn and connect with them. At least I do every single time. Cynthia says, what does your business page say versus what my personal page says? I'll answer that question at the end. Cynthia, if you could hold that question, Tiffany, if you could take a note of that, I will speak to personal versus business at the end, because I think that's a big question that people have. But Cynthia, I will answer that question. Just ensure, take some time, put a block on your calendar to really ensure that you map out your value prop on your LinkedIn profile, okay? I want to give an Instagram example as well. So this is my Instagram. It's just easier to use mine versus our clients. Clear photo, We have my expertise. So making selling simple on social for heart-centered women entrepreneurs. Join my private community is my call to action, right? And my link is right below. So really making sure, I'm going to take this off. It's getting hot because we're getting to the money. Let me take this off real quick. I'm ensuring that people click the link in my bio by telling them to join my private community. How many of you that are using Instagram have a call to action in your bio? Put yes or no in the chat. How many of you, those of you that are using Instagram, companies using Instagram, your personal page is selling, do you have a CTA in your bio? If not, I would update that. People need to know to click the link to take that next step. Want to learn how? Click below. Ready to start your journey? Click below. Book a free 15-minute intro session. Whatever the case is, that should be in your bio. Again, that's where someone can get to that designated destination. Cynthia says no. Krishna says yes. Nancy says yes. Beautiful. So ensure that you do that or your team does that as well. So let's go ahead. And those of you that say no, make sure you update it. And if you're feeling froggy, you can go ahead and throw what you think a great call to action would be for your bio inside of the chat. And I'm more than happy to read those towards the end and help you tweak those since I think we'll have some time. All right, so let's go into, first of all, let me know how you're feeling. Drop a word in the chat. We're about 30 minutes in to this presentation. We're about to get into KPIs and data. I think Mark was the one who said he liked data. But drop one word in the chat because I'm going to take a sip of water to let me know how you're feeling so far. Ralph says good. Ralph says awesome. Jeffrey says good. Okay, awesome. Beautiful. Okay, so let's get into KPIs for leaders. I've already said once, likes don't pay the bills. You can agree or disagree with me, but I agree, likes do not pay the bills. And so let's talk about some KPIs that actually do pay the bills. Likes, saves, and shares, these are great metrics that look amazing on paper, but don't necessarily reflect your actual conversion success, right? I think likes, saves, and shares are great for brand partnerships. Likes, saves, and shares are great to know what type of content is performing well as far as doing more of that content. But even if your content has low likes, has low saves, has low shares, but actually generated a lead or a conversion, again, that trumps everything for me. So let's talk about some KPIs for leaders. So we have 3 C's here. We have connections, conversions, and content. Before I go through these 3 things, what excites you the most? Is it connections, connecting with your ideal clients? Is it conversions, getting to the money? Or is it the content to continue to nurture those leads? What excites you the most before I dive into these 3 C's? This is what I need you to be measuring as a leader or the leader. If you're leading everything for social, I need this to be measured some way, somehow. All right, conversion. I said the money. Everyone's like the money. Cynthia says connections and content. Beautiful, connections, content. All right, so connections. This is going back to ICA. I believe Raul might have asked this in the beginning, but what is an ICA? Your ideal client avatar. Who is your ideal client? Can you drop that in the chat for me as a business or as someone representing a business? Who is your ideal client on social? Who are you wanting to book a call by? Have a conversation with someone, go ahead and buy from the link. Who is that person? Let me know in the chat. Who is your ideal client avatar? For us, it is, like I said, small business program leaders, small business development executives. It is programming managers. It is, who else do we like and love? We love small businesses, especially on the Instagram side, because I focus B2C on the Instagram side of things. Rajit says IT heads, sourcing and procurement leaders. Love it. Busy single or married millennial who want bold global flavors but are too busy to make it themselves. Wonderful. So those are your ideal clients. Leaders within procurement, HR and TA, Fortune 1000. It's mostly tech forward startups. Awesome. So these are your ideal connections. So these are the people, if we see any of these people come through as a LinkedIn connect, as an Instagram follow, as a Facebook, I think it's a friend request. If we see those people come through, that is someone you need to track. But additionally, and I want a yes or no, I want a yes or no. Is your team also actively pursuing these connections as well? Yes or no? So do you have in place someone on your team connecting with, following, engaging with IT heads, sourcing and procurement leaders, marketing directors at brands, tech forward startups, senior managers in financial systems? Are your team members actually sending LinkedIn requests, Facebook requests, commenting on their content, being intentional about engaging, not robotic or AIE? I know that's not a word, but like really building relationship, trying to be in the same places that these people are. Lurkers are great if they're your ideal client. But I also think lurkers are great if they're not your ideal client and can be a champion for you. I think oftentimes we cut our nose. My mom used to say this all the time: cut off your nose to spite your face. You stop, don't pursue something or someone that has and taken the energy to connect with you, not knowing that that person could be the bridge or champion to someone you could be doing business with. So make sure, even if you're like, oh, they're not a senior manager in financial systems, no, we're not looking at them. Take a second and look at their network. Take a second and see who's engaging in their content. They could be 1 degree of separation to your next buyer. So don't cut off your nose to spite your face. Like really, really, really be intentional about those connections. So with your KPIs, I think it's really important to track how many connections are made with your ideal client avatars. This could be through direct messaging, LinkedIn connections, or social engagement. And to track that, you would set an amount of connections you ideally would want a month, right? So ours is crazy. I'll go ahead and be transparent. Ours is 41. We want 41 ideal connections a month. It's not crazy, it's doable. All right. So what is yours? If we just took a moment to say, I at least want to have this many connections in the month of September, can you put that number in the chat? There's no wrong answer. If it's 1, it's 1. But let me know in the chat, what are you committed to, or what are you having your team commit to when it comes to ICA connections? Would love to see 10. Mark says 10. Beautiful. At least 15 to 20. Beautiful. Anybody else? How many connections? This is the money part. This is the sales part where people don't lock in here, where teams don't lock in. We're focused on 8 pieces of content, or we want 5 long captions, or we want 25 likes. No, this is what we should be focused on. 10 to 20 at least. Beautiful. I would love to get 200 new connections this month and users. Beautiful. All of that is doable. Anything that you can think of is doable if you put in the work or you have a system for your team to do it. So thank you for playing full out, those of you that are dropping those numbers in the chat. All right, so that's one section, your KPI. Second one is conversions. So contract clients. This is the ultimate measure of success, tracking how many of your social interactions turn into business opportunities or actual clients. How many of you are tracking conversions through your social media? And I know at the beginning there was a lot of us that haven't made any sales yet through social, but how many of you are actually saying, okay, I connected with Cynthia on LinkedIn, we had a discovery call that then went into a proposal, and now she's a client. That's a conversion. This is where she came from. How many of you are actually tracking that, right? Or I posted this and said to join the newsletter, and then Christina signed up for the newsletter. She then ended up booking a call. She talked to her sales team, then she ended up converting, right? How many of you are actually tracking those clients and conversions? And when you see this happen, when you create, and I'll show you an actual visual, you see this when you create your ideal client avatar tracker, right? So when you put Cynthia's name down there and you say, sent a LinkedIn request, and then you change it to the fact that she actually booked a call, and then you change it to she went to proposal, and then you change it in your pipeline to you won the deal or lost the deal, you can actually see what's being tracked and measured in this process. Kunal says we do. Anybody else? Does anybody else and you can say not yet. Does anybody else track their conversions when it comes to social? Or and it's not yet if nothing's come through, but I just want to know anybody in here. Not yet. Beautiful. Okay. And then the last part is content, nurturing. So this is the ongoing engagement with your audience through nurturing content. Someone had talked about nurturing earlier. Content that builds trust, provides value, and keeps your leads warm. I think this is super important. I love y'all. I'm sure you could tell I love the money and I love sales content and I love, buy this, sign up now, book a call. I love all of that. But no, and there should also be balance in nurturing, because oftentimes a no from your lead is a not right now because we have not nurtured them enough. And so really thinking about, how do I continue educating my buyers or my potential buyers? How do I continue showing results of the things that we've already done through case studies, testimonials? I love a good Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook Live with past clients. Those do really well. Metrics wise, poopy. They don't perform very well, but they convert very well. So how are you ensuring that you have nurturing content there that agitates that pain point? Make sure that that pain point is spotlighted, or that problem is spotlighted, gently dragging them, calling them out in the process of also having that sales content there as well, right? I really want to make sure that is scattered throughout your content calendar as well. I will say it again. I love a sale. I love a no fluff post, but you also, in this day and age, buyer psychology and the way people are buying now is a bit smarter. People are taking it, and let me know in the chat if you agree, yes or no. People are taking a little bit more time to make buying decisions. The climate has definitely shifted and changed from 2016, 2020. It's shifted. I'm not saying people are not buying. They are buying, right? But you have to stand out. You have to be different. And AI is great. Y'all already know, I've said it a million times. There's something about this nurturing content that can't be replaced with AI. Can you tell nowadays in the LinkedIn posts and the Instagram posts what is AI? Let me know in the chat. So if that is so, yes. If that is so, we really have to make sure that nurturing content is there. Okay. Yeah, we know exactly. You'd be like, that's a lot of emojis, friend. All right. So here's a visual of a ICA chart. You can do this in your CRM that you use. Like we use ClickUp. There's Pipedrive, there's Monday, there's Airtable. There's so many. Those of you that use a CRM, go ahead and drop that in the chat just in case people are looking for something new. But like I said, we use ClickUp. And so if you look at how we would structure someone's playbook without getting into their actual CRM, you see in the first column is that potential client's name. Then we see the type of business that they have. We then have their social handle. And then we have when we've engaged with them, when we had a DM go out to them or they DM'd us, if we're following each other or connected, and then any notes that we have, right? And so what you don't see is when they convert. So some sort of drop-down menu that is whether we're in connected, we're in discovery, we're in proposal, deal closed, deal won, deal lost, deal won, just ensuring that we are tracking this all the way through. Let me know in the chat, yes or no, if you have something like this in your business where we're tracking our ideal client avatars. And you can do something as simple as this, right? Using a Google Drive and just having somebody on your team and you go back and visit it, right? And the people here, just for clarity, are our ideal clients that have either sent a friend request, commented on a post, recently connected on LinkedIn, started following, sent a DM, followed a call to action. If they are an ideal client, they go on this list. And sometimes we go as far as sending a voice note and just welcoming them, right? You can send voice notes on LinkedIn, you can send voice notes on Instagram, and you can say, I'll just choose someone on here. Hey, Lanice, thank you so much for following our page. We are all things IT staffing, and we work with high achievers to really help them land the gig of their dreams. And so if you have any questions, I'm here, but I just wanted to shoot you a quick message to say thanks and looking forward to staying connected. Just a quick voice note. It could be someone on your team. Hey, Lanice, my name's Jordan. I'm on Team BRG Media, and I just wanted to send you a welcome. Thanks so much for connecting with me on LinkedIn. We love all things IT staffing. If you have any questions, I'm only a message away, right? How many of you could benefit from sending a voice note to somebody? Let me know in the chat. That's, again, just another strategic way to build connection that people are not doing. People are not getting out of their comfort zone and sending voice notes. You can feel a little nervous, right? It could feel a little overwhelming, but I'm telling you, I can't count how many clients we've had convert due to that personal touch, that unautomated touch, that unbot touch, that very connected level of, I see you, let's build a relationship. Yeah, Kunal says we usually send voicemail, but we can definitely look into using voice notes. I love it. All right, so let me know in the chat how you're feeling. We're almost at the 1 hour mark, and I want to make sure we have time for questions, but I would love for you to just drop one word in the chat with how we're feeling as we start to kind of land this plane. I know I've given a lot of information, and I just want to make sure we're feeling good. Awesome. Okay. So we talked a little bit about, Jeffrey said, great. Thank you, Jeffrey. Lots of greats. Awesome. So we talked about your playbook. Again, at the end, I'll have a QR code that you can scan to get the notes from today, which kind of defines a lot of these things. And you can start to rework this for your team, or you can work with us, shameless plug. And I'll talk about that more at the end. But I want you to also think about the fact that there are so many ways to sell on social. Right. And like I said, for the purpose of time and for this presentation, I'm really just talking about LinkedIn and Instagram. But these are a few great ways to sell, not just post, not just show up, but actually sell. So on LinkedIn, we have posts, live video. LinkedIn allows you to create a newsletter. You can use Sales Navigator. It's a paid feature where you can actually send messages and reach out to leaders and your ideal buyers. Direct messages are a great way to sell. Your banner is a great way to sell. I'm sure some of you are like, what do you mean your banner? I think I can go back to the other page and show you. Your About Me section is a great way to sell on LinkedIn. And so let me just go back just visually. Or let me see if you have questions. When I say your banner, is everybody clear on that? And if you're not, just put a note in the chat on LinkedIn. That your banner is a great place to sell. If there's a no, I'll go ahead and go back to the image. But if you all are like, yes, I know what a banner is, no worries. I won't go back. But those are some of, yes, okay. So this is my banner here at the top. So fueling small business growth with effective social media programming. Activate engagement, cultivate brand loyalty, and boost revenue. And then I have some of the companies that we work with. So that's a perfect way to advertise your business. Some people have never changed their banner, no shade, but it's great real estate to sell. So take a moment, your team can do it, you can do it. There's a lot of great free Canva templates you can use to create banners. You can do that on Facebook as well. Facebook allows you to create banners, but it's so good. Do not let that real estate go to waste. Instagram, you can sell in reels, live video, posts, stories. Your highlights are a great place to sell. Those of you that are using Instagram, captions, of course, direct messages. So as I'm just sharing all of this, I know there's a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are 14, and I'm sure there's a multitude of other ways. What do you feel like if you could choose 2 to 3, or your team could choose 2 to 3 places to focus on for the sales side of things, what would they focus on? Let me know in the chat. I think for us in this season, we're working on short form videos, so reels. We're working through captions are still a great way for us. And I want to get back to live video. Live video is a really big cash flow zone for us, but what's been in the season that we've been in is DMs or direct messages. So let me know in the chat. Kunal says we're working on a newsletter right now, but we could add using our banners and post more actively. Beautiful. Roll posts and DMs. Beautiful. Anybody else? What could you focus on? You could go back to your team, or you could sit down with yourself and say, hey, Q3, we're going to prep what we think are going to be, I'll go into the next slide in a second, our cash flow zones. This is what we're going to work on, right? Because again, everything works, but what are we doubling down on, right? Post in DMs. Mark says Reels, post, try newsletter. Beautiful. Reggie says newsletter. Raul says the About Me section. Beautiful. So the reason why I asked that is, like I said, there's a multitude of ways, and really getting clear on what your cash flow zones are. Again, seasonal. You could change them, right? You can update your bio a million times. You can change up from doing your stories to doing live video, whatever the case is. But I would love for you to double down for a quarter on 3 to 4 cash flow zones, right? Of where you know, hey, I'm going to be directly selling this way on this platform. I'm going to be directly selling. For me, for a while, it was stories. Like, we were getting so many sales just through creating Instagram stories, right? That was our cash flow zone. And then we moved over to something new, right? So really nailing down what that is for that season, whether it's your DMs, your bio, your captions, your live video, whatever it is, double down on that and go full throttle, and make sure your team is measuring the results there and measuring the output there. Okay. Drop a 1 in the chat if you're committed to that. I just want to know, it's September. I just feel this new fresh energy of people who are, the kids are saying, standing on business right now, really doubling down and focusing on things that move the needle in our businesses. And we're kind of done being busy. We're done spending money on things that aren't really moving the needle. And we're really focused on this money, this cash flow, generating more clients. And so I really want to know, if you're committed, drop a 1 in the chat, because that's half of, I won't say the battle, but it's half of just staying in the game is being committed, right? Okay, so I've got some 1s in there. So as we wrap up, I want to know, what is the first thing you plan to implement with your team or in your business? Is it A, and if it's something else, let me know, but is it A, defining my team's voice and vision? B, identifying and optimizing my cash flow zones? C, developing a social sales engine for my team or solo? Tracking and optimizing my team's KPIs? Drop your answer in the chat. Kunal says C, developing a social sales engine. Lots of C's, beautiful. What is the first thing you plan to implement? I want to know. Anybody else? There's a lot of us in here. Lots of C's. I'm going to take a sip of water. A's, a couple A's, defining my team's voice and vision. Tracking and optimizing my KPIs. I'm telling you, measuring it, you're going to feel so much better. Those of us that put numbers in the chat of, this is how many connections I'm working towards, measure that. See where you fall short or see where you succeed, and then see what is on the other side of hitting those numbers, leads and sales. Awesome. Okay, so do we want to see any case studies, or do we want to go into, I'm sure you guys are going to say questions, but let me know in the chat. Case studies, we have time for both, but do we want to see any case studies, or do we want to go? Okay, so we'll do one. I have a couple. Let's do this one. So this is a nonprofit client for Black and Latina female founders, and we worked on we worked with their social team doing strategic advisory in addition to training the trainer, meaning we spent time with their social media manager and their partnerships manager to help them increase their impact over 2 social media platforms, and that was LinkedIn and Instagram. And really, this strategy became a ripple effect to their newsletter and additional social channels. They started TikTok and all the things. So their goal was to increase awareness, build community, double engagement. We did more than that. Attract qualified founders to follow the brand's online presence. And we also, this wasn't an ask, but we also drove more founders to their grants and their programs that were paid for by corporate partners. And so through strategy and implementation over a 6-month period, the company was able to exceed their goal. So performance by social media platform in 6 months, 38,000 impressions. They had 55,000 impressions on LinkedIn, so up 75.8% on Instagram, up 77% on LinkedIn. They had a 143% increase in overall engagement, a 302 increase in following, yes, all organically, And we did 4 minimum posts a week on both platforms. So we weren't posting multiple times a day. You can if you want, it's just not my ministry. You can post 1 million times a day. You can't. You can post 5, 3, people recommend all these times a day. We posted 4 times a week, and it was intentional content, all organic. Thank you for asking. I believe, I wish I had the screenshots of the social, but then they wouldn't be anonymous anymore. But we grew them by more than 5,000 over that 6-month period on Instagram. So we also got a testimonial from the interim CEO. I won't read all of that, but she said it was transformative. She values the partnership. And if you're looking for a passionate and effective brand strategist, we are them. So we do offer VIP half-day team intensives, and we do go through a social assessment. We have the founder brain dump so we can get clear on that values, visions, goal side of things. We create your playbook, and the train the trainer is optional. We can come in and train your team as well. But we love doing these VIP half days intensives. We only do 2 a month because they're pretty hefty and you have to come ready to work, but they do make a difference. And so if that's something that you're interested in, again, I'll share a QR code to connect with me and my team, and we can, have a call to see if it's something fit for you. So let's go into Q&A. I would love an interactive Q&A. So before we do, I'll let you all, because I'm sure some people might have to jump, scan the QR code. I want to say thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this was helpful. I hope you feel invigorated and just, I don't know, I won't say excited by social, but you feel like it's doable. You feel like this is something that actually works. I've seen it work. It still works for us today as the landscape continues to change. It's one of the best ways to generate revenue. We've generated multiple 6 figures in our business, multiple 6-figure clients from social and making LinkedIn requests and nurturing people through social. And so I really, really, really hope that you take the time to take this seriously. And this has all been organic. Krishna, I'm really glad you asked that question. We do not have experience with paid media. Everything that we teach is organic. So if that's what you're looking for, we're probably not the people for you as far as ads and media buying. But if you are really looking for organic, intentional community, strategic community, definitely us. So would love to connect with you. Feel free to scan the QR code. If you could share one word in the chat or share a takeaway that you have from this session, that would be great. And then we can get into some questions. So go ahead, scan the QR code, drop a takeaway, and then in a moment, we'll get into some questions. You're welcome, Jeffrey. Thank you. And then Clifton, there you are.
I was just about to ask you, would you like me to open the room?
Yeah, let's open it. Let's turn up.
All right, give me 1 sec.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm also shooting content right now, so I'm gonna change my video here. Okay. Voice notes. Great takeaway, Cynthia. Mark, you're so welcome. Rajith, you're so welcome. Deepak, you're so welcome. Tanzila, you're so welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. So we're gonna go ahead. Clifton, our tech extraordinaire, he is just more than that. He's making sure everything's running smoothly. You can turn your cameras on, you can unmute. I believe it would be easier if people raise their hand, and I'm gonna go back to that question that Cynthia had initially. Yes, thank you. Gosh, you see my team, Tiffany, you're already ahead of me. So what does our business page say versus what my personal page says? So my answer is gonna be a bit unconventional because, and this is how I teach my clients and our students, is I am not on social media for personal reasons. I am on social media for business. So I really don't have a distinguished personal page and business page. My personal page is my business page. So if I had a I don't have a LinkedIn page for Vera Jean Media. It's up there, but I don't post on it. But let's say I did, it would be the same content that I'm posting on my personal page, which is all for business, if that makes sense. So I would just repurpose content, have my team repurpose content, not from my voice, but from a more company tone, but it'd be the same thing. You're not going to be seeing a whole bunch of personal stuff on my personal page. It's all going to be business because I'm using social to make money. Otherwise, I would not be on social media. Let me know if that answers your question. I know it's not like a typical answer of like, oh, I would separate my personal from my business. I just don't have a desire to run social media for fun personally. So Tiffany, let me know if that answered your question. And again, feel free. Oh, Cynthia, I see you. Do you want to come off mute if you have any follow-ups, or did that answer your question?
So I was, I'm still holding down my 9 to 5. So my LinkedIn page, although it has my business information on there, my company page is different from there. And sometimes I post on my personal page about my business, and sometimes I don't. Just depends. But you were sharing the call to action on the personal page. I'm just wondering how appropriate is that, or how could that be done? A call to action on my personal page when I work for a company versus my business call to action.
Great question. Great question. So I would, if I were in your situation, I would think about a way that your CTA wasn't so much as product selling, it was more community building. So driving someone to a newsletter if you have one, or a YouTube channel if you have one, or someplace that you are able to garner collateral from people who are engaged to then sell them on the back end, so that you are still present and forward facing for your company, but your business can be treated visually as like a side hustle or a hobby or whatever the case is, masked by that top of funnel being something that is more community driven, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? She's nodding yes, everyone. Okay, so yeah. So if you have a newsletter, if you have just somewhere, I say ideally that you could gather collateral, someone's email address, and a newsletter is honestly the best way to do it. Or if there's another channel where you are full-fledged out, so not LinkedIn, maybe it's Facebook, where you're like, girl, forget that 9 to 5, all I do is post about my business here. Drive them to your Facebook, or drive them to your TikTok, or drive them to your YouTube channel, whatever the case is. Does that make sense? Beautiful. Awesome. Any other questions? Don't be shy. Don't be scared. That's what we used to say back in the day too. Don't be scared. Anybody? All right, Lizette, maybe I'll give them like a little 5-10 second countdown. I mean, this is the chance to kind of pick my brain, or if there's anything specific for your company, or a hurdle or roadblock that you're facing with your team socially. Yeah, Lenore, go ahead.
Hi, yeah, so I wanted, let me get on camera. Hi,
Okay.
I wanted to know, so we previously did something that involved social selling combined with live webinars for conversion. And it was a lot of effort. There was this whole idea of a runway of social posting in a certain way that would, it was, a lot going on. It brought in our sales team, our in-house sales team, our in-house marketing team. And it got a lot of interest, and we did the full event, which was a lot of days. And so it got a lot of interest and comments that may have indirectly led to people working with us later, but we had no direct sales into the offers for that program. And one of the things that I felt like in retrospect was, if you don't have a following, it's very hard to speak to that following in a way that's going to drive the numbers that you need. And I wanted to know, like, realistic level setting.
Mhm.
If people want, for those who said they're interested in sales, right,
Mhm.
from social selling,
Mhm.
realistically, what do they need to know about their numbers in terms of followers for it to really work for them?
Yeah, great question. I think that it doesn't matter, to be honest, because I've worked with businesses that have, 500,000 followers and are not generating sales as much as a business that has 5,000 followers, right? So I don't have the full breakdown of that launch, but there could be some contributing factors to maybe why people didn't buy, because virtual live events are not a game, they are a beast. But the biggest pieces in that process is qualifying them beforehand, before they even get into the virtual room or before they get into the webinar, whether that's through emails, whether that's through the content that you're creating. I'm not sure if there's any sticker shock also in the webinar. So, were these prime buyers or qualified buyers? I don't know the price point of the actual offer that was there, but were these qualified prime buyers? Was this cold traffic? So I think there's a lot of factors that could shape a conversion of a webinar, that don't have anything to do with how many followers you had, because it sounds like there's interest there. It sounds like people were ready to come be in the room with you and participate and stay with you through the end of the challenge or the 5-day event or however long it was. But there's some bridge that didn't happen from engagement to conversion that we're missing. And so I personally would probably look at your runway content, which, again, I think it's great and it's helpful to have, but I think the real work happens during the time that you're actually with them, and that they're being educated and being made very aware of whatever that pain point is, to then very clear of what that transformation is going to be, to get those people to really take action during the live call versus, working with us later down the line. It also could be an offer issue, right?
Yeah,
So there's a
I
lot
see
of
it's
what's
so
coming
many
up for you there.
factors. Yeah.
Hmm?
I said, I see it's so many factors, but what's interesting is that you said, well, you could have 500,000 or 5,000. I'm like, I don't even have 5,000 followers.
That's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. I mean,
Um,
did you feel confident with how many people signed up for the actual live event?
I thought the numbers were really low. I mean, I
Okay.
honestly thought about canceling it because the numbers were so low, and a lot of the people who signed up um, were existing clients. And so,
Okay.
that's kind of, which is not a problem. I want
Mhm.
them to, I don't want to say, for existing clients, the idea is not that you can't take advantage of what I'm offering, right? But that wasn't the function of it. And so I'm glad
Mhm.
they found it useful. We made everything
Mhm.
available to them to replay it later, since they're
Mhm.
existing clients. But
Mhm.
honestly, it just didn't pan out the way we thought. And I said to myself, this was too much effort for,
Mhm.
not to get the returns.
The reward, yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I would encourage you to think about what you liked about it. So if
Mhm.
it was the live teaching, if it was the creating the content, if it was the results people got from attending, extract that and really think about doing it again. Maybe not to that scale or that magnitude, but also think about if volume and traffic is something that you feel as though you don't quite have yet. How can I leverage other people's audiences? So how can I go live with another person in my industry or field? How can I leverage someone's newsletter, right, and share my event there? Like, how can I rely on someone else's traffic, not just
Mhm.
my own, in order to get new people into the room as well? And this is all organic. I'm not even saying like run ads yet. I'm just saying, how can we start to leverage people that we have relationships with, or clients. That always does well when we do it with clients, of like having those clients that ended up being in the room for that challenge. Could you do some sort of spotlight with them, or live with them, or a piece with them, to leverage their people, because they probably have people in their audience that could benefit from your offer, right? And what your business is offering. But just really thinking about different ways to leverage other people. But I would say, I get it. Live events, and especially if it's multiple days, I ain't got it in me anymore. I'm a one and done, one trick pony. So even if it was something like that, and you limited replay access or something like that to get the urgency there, there's nothing like a live component, and really being able to get people like this. So I would encourage you to definitely consider doing it again.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? All right, Lizette, I think I'm gonna hand it back to you, unless anything else comes through. But again, I want to thank everyone for joining us. I really hope that you took something away, and that you can bring something back to your team, and just feel, like I said, encouraged to show up and sell, and be confident in a place that might seem a bit overwhelming. But you were made for this. So again, thank you for joining me.
Jordan, that was amazing. Thank you so much. And thank all of you for joining us today. That was truly exceptional. Thank you. The council thanks you, and all of our guests today. Thank you so much.